to start where I left off last time, and I was going over my cognitive map. It's pretty handy. And I don't know if you can see it over on that side because of the screen. I put the eye on this side, and I associate Aristotle. This Eudaimenean ethics I put on this side because his Eudaimenean ethics is focused on the self. So, how can I flourish from my own perspective, right? And what's interesting about that for our own contemporary time period is we have move that is Alasdair MacIntyre, who's on my list of philosophers you could pick for your term paper. Is an Aristotelian, kind of an updated one, of course. He's Irish, actually, but they actually, even on the Wikipedia, they call him an American philosopher, because I believe his whole career has actually been in America, mostly at Notre Dame. But so he's a Roman Catholic, and he sees Aristotle primarily through the interpretation of Thomas Aquinas. But nonetheless, the focus, he thinks, on my own flourishing, being the best that I could be, is essentially the main ethical theory for an educated American. But in contrast, we have David Hume. And the contrast comes because David Hume is famous for insisting that our passions rule our reason. So we might learn to use logic and critical thinking, but my values are going to be based on how I was raised in a community, right? So the community I grew up in is going to teach me what values I ought to have, even if there's a lot of them. Nonetheless, the basics of how I'm viewing things are going to come from my family, how my parents raised me. I mean, he was raised as a very religious kid by his mother, who was very religious. His father had died when he was like 2. But when he was 12 and was in the University of Edinburgh already, seems awfully early for it to either be a university or whatever. But 12 years old, and almost immediately after arriving there, he ended up losing his faith because of who knows what. Maybe the influence of one of the teachers or one of the things he was reading. I don't know. But in any case, he ended up being really an atheist the rest of his life. From 12, and he lived, 65 years. But the argument that he gives with regard to values is that they come from your passions. The passions are the things that you get because of how you grow up and what you believe based on what your family and your friends and acquaintances all believe. And so you can be very logical, but you're always your premises are going to be based on those beliefs. So you're basically then what we would call a communitarian. So that the community is the basis for your ethical beliefs, right? As opposed to focused on the self, and focused on the community. We haven't talked about the next 2 philosophers yet, but I put certainty up at the top. And the example that I will use next class even is Kant. Although there are others that you could use there. Kant is just philosophically very clear on the idea that we have certain a priori values that base our morality on, and he feels, and no one really agrees with him today, that all humans have the same values. So